giving you a voice.
Making it loud our own way.
Welcome to the fun.
First Updates Now FRC is produced in partnership with the Blue Alliance. Keep up to date on all live and archived First Robotics events and team stats at thebluealliance.com. And by viewers like you. We need your help to keep fun loud, live, and independent. Help us by visiting our Patreon to pledge your support at patreon.com/First Updates Now. You can also support Fun live on Twitch for a few bucks a month or by linking your Prime account for free and clicking subscribe.
Wrap up, but if you weren't watching the STEMley Cup this weekend, we're going to give you a breakdown of an epic battle between some of Ontario's top teams. We're going to provide a full breakdown, and if you're watching live, we're going to enjoy some extra fun and discussions playing marbles on stream later on tonight. So, for First Updates Now, I'm Karthik Canagis of Apathy, and joining us tonight is our producer and the chief of fun, Tyler Olds.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks especially to our friends in the U.S. who I know midterms are coming up right now, but we're going to have a great time talking about an awesome competition that took place in Ontario this weekend. I can't wait to see the breakdown, Karthik.
Yeah, it's going to be good. We also have a giveaway for our live viewers tonight, so thanks for joining in, courtesy of Analog Devices. The gyro board will give your robot a sense of direction and is designed for plug-and-play functionality right into your RoboRio's SPI port. So, to win, enter the keyword in chat when prompted near the end of the show. But make sure you click the follow button, or if you choose to subscribe, because you're going to get a 5 times chance to win, 5 times multiplier.
Oh, you know what, Karthik, I have an idea, by the way.
Oh, boy.
What do you feel about, once we switch to the Marbles on Stream, that the first winner of Marbles on Stream gets the giveaway instead?
I'm just gonna say it the way I feel it.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right.
That's cool.
I just had that thought. I'm like, you know, that might be kind of cool. Now, our subs might not get that extra chance to win, but we know that we put extra magic into your marble to make it spin faster anyway. So if your driving sucks, that's on you. That's the way I kind of look at it.
There you go. You got to be better with your marbles. I don't know. You're like, it's going from one random way of winning to another random way of winning.
Yeah.
Although I'm convinced I have influence over my marbles on stream.
That sounds legit to me. Don't forget, by the way, if you do have any questions or comments you'd like to have read in chat, especially about STEMley Cup coming up, that Karthik was there, make sure you take at First Updates Now with any of those questions. We'll get to them through the show. We only are doing one match today, so it's going to be a little bit shorter of an episode for this, so we can do a bit more of the marbles, and we can kind of sit back and relax, make fun of stuff. We'll have a lot of conversations during Marbles on Stream. We might even take a few callers, so we'll see how that goes as well. But with that said, let's talk a bit about STEMley Cup, Karthik. I got to watch it a bit on webcast, but I know you were right there.
Yeah, I was glad to be at this event. We've been doing FUNalysis all season long, breaking down power-up matches, and I'd say probably like in May or June, I was kind of done with power-up. I was like, okay, the game was good, but I was kind of tired of analyzing it, and I was kind of tired of watching it. Yeah. But the reason I wanted to cover this match today is just because I want to highlight the rules changes that the STEMley Cup organizers made, because that totally changed the game. And honestly, like, a lot of off seasons do different things with rules, but I think this is the best off-season rules change I've ever seen. So let's talk about what they did. This is the 4th ever STEMley Cup, and rule changes are nothing new to them. So for the past 4 years, every year they've had like some sort of a bonus object. They had a bonus tote, which doubled the stack in 2015. They had like a bonus ball, which was worth something, and a bonus gear, which might have given, I think the bonus ball was worth extra tower points, and like the bonus gear might have been like an extra rotor or something like that. I don't really remember. But this year, the bonus objects were super cubes, otherwise known as STUBEs, which I thought was a hilarious name. And they gave each alliance a bonus score on top of any ownership scores that they accrued during the match. So the way it worked, the simple version of it, and Tyler's got the full version up there. And if you go to the STEMley Cup website, you can take a look at all of it. A STUBE scored on your own switch or scale plate was worth 5 points for every yellow power cube that was already scored on that plate, or that is scored on that plate at the end of the match, to a maximum of 50 points. So it sounds pretty standard. What was so unique about these, unlike in past games where there have been additions to the rules, the STUBE use a totally different type of scoring, going back to our traditional raw scoring, as opposed to the time-based scoring that we're so used to in Power Up. And so, like, suddenly there was this whole new dynamic to it, because there was a reason now for teams to do a last-second cube placement, which there wasn't in Power Up. Because, like, if you score a cube on the scale to tip the balance with 1 second left, it means nothing. It's like, oh, you got an extra point, like congratulations, which actually might have made a difference in this match because it was so close. But yeah, so anytime there's scoring happening at the end of the match, it's always awesome, and that was the case here.
So this wasn't like 2009 where you had to exchange a cube through. Actually, it would have been pretty appropriate since it's called an exchange, right? But it was literally just an extra cube they were given to place in the field, right?
It was an extra cube that you could only enter into the match with in the last 30 seconds. So in the end game, it was a colored cube. There was one red, one blue, and it was low. You know, since they were colored, it's obviously on your far side of the field, and you could only have it count to something that you had ownership of. So like technically you never have ownership of the opponent's scale. It's just, moves to neutral. So your switch, your scale. So you have to go at least half the field with it, or even.
But you had to have ownership of it.
You didn't even have to have ownership. So if you were losing on the scale, but you still had like 7 cubes on there, you could get a 35
Got it.
bonus.
All right.
So there were a lot of different nuances to it, and there was a lot of details or whatever, but that's like the main gist of it. So we get to finals 3, and forget about finals 3. Let's just talk about the finals here and the alliances we had, because this was a true powerhouse alliance and a powerhouse final. So starting with the alliance captain number 1, number 1's overall seed at the event, team 4917. So if you haven't heard of 4917 by now, you haven't been paying attention enough. They are one of the top teams in the world. Forget about just Ontario. Their robot this year was just phenomenal. And if you don't believe me just based on that hype, let's talk about what they've done this year. They were finalists at the Ontario District Championship, losing to 2056 and 1325 in the finals. They beat 2056 and 1241 to win the Waterloo Regional. And 2056 and 1241, that's an Einstein alliance right there. And they were also on Einstein themselves this year. So 4917 is the real deal. Quick elevator, really nice extendo hang where the bar pops out so they hang from the side, and they just kind of did everything well. And the robot just so elegantly designed. Everything had a form function. It was all beautiful. Their number 1 pick, I mean, how could you beat this sort of hype? Team 2056.
Who?
Who? I don't think they need much of an introduction, but they were winners of Ontario champs for the 2nd straight year. They were on Einstein with 1241. They, say 2056 is 2056. In a lot of people's minds, they might have been the 2nd best team in the world this year, next to 254. I think that's I'd put them up there in the exact same class as 195. So just fabulous robots, super consistent. I don't know that this robot ever had a failure this year. It was just so reliable and and it's 2056. I don't even know why I need to explain it. And so we're going to talk mainly about the top 2 robots on the alliances, but we'll talk about the third bots as we get into the match. Now, on the other side, the alliance captain, none other than Hall of Fame team 1114. They were division finalists with 1241 at Ontario champs this year. They were the first pick overall in their division at the championship. Had a really great robot this year, but it let them down a few times with failures in key moments in the elimination rounds. So they were kind of
They broke down a couple times, right?
Yeah, absolutely did. And that kind of lowered their standing a little bit this year. And then the team that they picked, we've talked about a bunch already, but Team 1241, who Ontario Division Championship finalists with 1114. They won their division at championship with 1241 with 2056. They won McMaster with 2056. They lost Waterloo with 2056. So 1241's been all around all these top matches. And this was the best of the best of Ontario. 4 of the top robots in the province for sure. I mean, all 4 of them were in the top 6 in the district rankings. 1325 and 5406 for the others who were part of that top 6. And yeah, this is the best of the best that Ontario
I want to
had.
give a big shout out, by the way, to 1241's photographer, and whoever does photography for them. They have some pretty amazing action shots on there.
His name's Eddie G, and Eddie does a lot of the photography. He's a 1241 alumnus and mentor, and he also does a lot of the photography for First Robotics Canada, and his stuff is gorgeous.
Yeah, just super crisp, and it's kind of sad that they don't have these on Blue Alliance right away to see, because I had to do some digging for these, but yeah, these pictures are phenomenal. So what was the person's name again?
Eddie G.
Eddie G. Kudos to you, man. These are some kick-ass pictures.
Yeah, and Karush just linked to the First Robotics Canada Flickr on in the chat.
Yeah,
so
go check that out.
More of those photos, and you can take a look at his Instagram profile where he does his professional photography stuff, and yeah, and just it's always great seeing Eddie at the event, because there's going to be awesome pictures. So alliance selection was weird at this event. I'm not really sure what happened. Well, I mean, I know what happened with 4917 picking 2056. That was a no-brainer. But the number 2 seed was 2013.
Yeah.
They picked 1114, who declined. They picked 4678, who declined. But they never picked 1241. And they didn't burn 1241 for, I don't know, 1241 definitely was one of the top robots.
They're the 5th seed, too, yeah.
Yeah, like it just, and 1241, I don't know what they would have done if they would have declined or accepted, but if they accepted, 2013 would have had 1241 on their alliance. And if they declined, it would have meant that 1114 couldn't have picked 1241. So 1114 would have probably been picking 3683 or 3015, which would have really opened things up for both 4917's alliance and for 2013's alliance.
Emma Man 1506 says in chat that apparently 2013 expected Dave to decline because of their history. So I don't know what that means necessarily, but still an interesting thing when you still have 1241 to pick. Why the hell would you pick?
Yeah, I would have gone with the better one. Like Dave was great this year, but 1241 was a better overall robot. So that's that was weird. But you know what? It made for a great final, so I'm happy about that.
For sure.
Normally, when it comes to off-season events, even IRI, sometimes I'm just kind of meh about them because, like, a lot of teams don't take them seriously.
I said it this year. I thought IRI was like I love IRI. It is my favorite event of year to ever do. But the game power-up just did not play well for IRI in regards to bringing in these elite teams together. Like, it didn't seem any different.
Yeah, and in general, for me, like, the thing about off-seasons, and like this, Pat Fairbank talked about this when we had him on the show a couple months ago, is that, you know, a lot of the top teams, for example, is one of them, they don't try their hardest at off-season events. And that happens a lot. You also have a lot of new drivers, especially for fall off-season events, because the drivers are away at university at this point. They're gone. But STEMley was a little bit different. Like the atmosphere in the building was super intense. There were some new drivers, there were some new drive coaches, but it still felt pretty intense all throughout the day. Part of it might have been because St. Mary's High School is a pretty small school.
Yeah, so it looked very cozy in there.
Yeah, it was very, very cozy.
You know it's cozy when you can't put the camera where people aren't sticking their arms in front of it.
Right.
But, yeah. By the way, past that, and I do want to say, because I did compliment people running this broadcast, the camera views and stuff were amazing for this. So this is what's to come for Ontario in the future. I think they're definitely in the right direction. Yeah,
this was a test of a new system that Ontario is going to hopefully be running this season. We're going to have like the tri-camera views, hopefully have a higher angle, and so it's going to, and hopefully get matches uploaded to YouTube and a link to the Blue Alliance right away, which I know has been a problem for.
Well, it's a pain in the ass if you can't automate it.
Yeah, it is, and like they were doing like weird uploading to Vimeo, and it was on that. Yeah, this is going to be like a lot better.
Awesome.
So, yeah, this was really good. But like finals were like super intense. So we get to finals match 1. We talked about these alliances. Red wins match 1 fairly easily. Blue comes back and wins match 2 very easily. Both matches were skewed towards whoever took the scale in auto, and it was simply because 1114 and 2056 were lining up opposite each other. That meant one alliance was going to have the scale. One alliance was going to go have a near side scale, while the other was going to have to cross the field. So going into match 3, and you've got to remember, both 1114 and 2056 had working near side 3-cube autos. 2056 had a far side 3-cube. It wasn't the greatest. And 1114 and 1241 were trying to combo auto, where 1241 would drop 1 on, and then 1114 would drop 2 on to get the 3, which worked sometimes, but as we can see, had a little bit of a problem in finals match 3. So auto, like was the story all year, was going to be a differentiator here. So let's start the batch.
Hey, one thing I want to mention, Karthik, can you educate me a bit on what Watch First Now is? Because it seemed like this event was broadcasted on Twitch, and Watch First Now has always been this like proprietary platform before. That's always been a pain in the ass for the Blue Alliance.
Stuff that's run by a first mentor and a first alum, and he had been, I think, was under contracted by First Robotics Canada to provide the webcasts and whatever. He set up the webcast box for them.
Okay. And
then he was broadcasting through Watch First Now, and First Canada had a paid account with I think it's Livestream.
Sure.
Ustream, one of those things.
Yeah, one of the ones that are ridiculously expensive to stream for some reason.
Right, but and so like for the most part, why I liked the Ustream or Livestream things was you could rewind midstream. So like if you get to your lap, if you're at work and then all of a sudden it's like, oh shoot, 2056 is playing, I gotta watch, and then you just missed it, you could rewind a bit. So that was cool.
Okay, that makes sense a little bit. So I wonder, do you know, are they planning going Twitch in the future? Because there have been 2 channels created of FRC Ontario 1 and Ontario 2.
Yeah, the plan is going for Twitch.
Okay.
Going forward, Twitch for live, YouTube for archives.
Makes sense to me. All right.
But again, it's, let's see. Let's hope we get it all together for March. I know like one of our senior FTAs, James Farrar, has been working his butt off to try and get this set up. And First Robotics Canada has been super supportive and providing all the resources. So thanks to First Canada to James for making this happen. So it's time to start this match, and let's go. And we're going to start off by watching auto.
Whenever that starts. There we go.
Yeah. I'm doing my busy 3, 2, 1, go. Blah, blah, blah.
I was really confused by that because the announcer was talking, like, doing hand gestures.
Yeah, and so that right away, so we see 11, 12, let's pause right here at 11 seconds, and let's back it up again. Let's back it up already. And I want to see, at 11 seconds, you see 11:14 bumping into 12:41. So 12:41's already scored their first cube on the scale, and 11:14 is going to try and come in and turn and get their 2 in. But the plan obviously wasn't for the 2 robots to bump in together. In the 6 previous matches, they'd had some contact or close calls, but right here they had some actual contact, and it actually could have affected this match hugely and probably should have, as we watch going on. Now watch 11:14 score this first cube, and Tyler, pause it right as they're scoring the cube. And we're going to pause right there. They never actually made it into the null zone. That was launching. The ref, no one saw it. It was super close, but yeah. So like one of the little things we'll come back to right now. And so at the same time, let's watch 2056 on the far side going up with their second cube. And they miss, which is a rarity for 2056. They go get their third cube and they put it up, and we'll pause at the end of auto. And we see our scale, it'll flip back a little bit, but it's 2 cubes to 2 cubes right there. So this is actually a win for the Blue Alliance, because Red had the positioning advantage there. 2056 had near scale opportunity for 3. They only got 2. So 2-2 right here. Blue's got to be feeling good about this, because this is way better than what happened in finals match number 1. So I'm just going to scroll through my notes here and make sure I'm in a good spot. But we're going to get started and go into teleop here. And like, I mean, this is just 4 great scale robots, and it's just fun to watch because like they just go up there so quickly and they're under control. They work well with each other. They're leaving room for each other. Like this is how power-ups should be played. And like this does not feel like an off-season event. Yeah, with how cleanly these cubes are getting taken away here. And so as we come up to the 110-second mark, let's pause and do a reset here. So here we are right now at 110 left in the match, and we see right now Red is taking control of the scale. Switches are already owned by both sides, and seems like it's just going to be a battle for the scale right now, and see how it goes here. So let's keep watching. And again, like this is like the beginning part of this match was very standard, but like it's still fun to watch because it was just so fluid here. And right around here, I'll pause at 100 seconds or 99 seconds. And we see that the scale has flipped back to even just slightly. So even though the 2056 and 4917 got a quick jump, 1114, 2050, and 1241 come back to even it out a little bit. Now we're going to take this and we got to pause very carefully at the 96-second mark. This is really important. So we're going to go. Now, actually, this isn't. And so right here, we see that Red Alliance has boosted level 2 boost, meaning that level 3 boost, meaning switch and scale. Mm-hmm. However, they don't have ownership of the scale at this point. And they actually end up losing about 5 seconds of boost. Let's remember that at the end of this match. So they boosted a little bit too early, especially for a match where they had control of the scale for most of the match. They could have held on to that boost here. And normally this stuff is irrelevant in power up, but in a match this close, it's going to matter.
Yeah, let's go back right before the boost starts just so everybody can kind of watch the time lost in regards to that. So right there, it just becomes even, right?
Yeah. And Praneet's saying that he thinks it was a level 2 boost activation. They added the 3rd cube after it actually started, which I might have missed, but it's going to have the same net effect right there. So let's back her up a little bit. Let's back to about 90 seconds. And now I want to watch 1114 and 6078 as we resume here.
So which one? 1678.
6878 is the
6878.
switch bot who is trying to block 1114 from the portals in the corner.
All right.
And 6878. So once 1114 ran out of field cubes, 6878, their job was just to mess 1114 up with the portals, and they did a great job in all three finals matches, slowing them down just a little bit, nudging them where they needed to. And like, you know, as we get to like here, these scales are just like a beautiful mess. Let's pause when we get to about 65 seconds, but it's a mess. There's just cubes everywhere. This is
not very cleanly placed, right?
No, this is not a scale that's being packed by Team 118, you know, where they had like this beautifully packed scale, you know, as if they were like trying to pack like a Nissan, like pack a minivan or something up for a road trip. This is a mess. They just kind of threw everything in there, and that's going to become important later on. We look at the score right now, it's about a 65-point difference with 65 seconds left. If we go all the way back to the beginning of the season, I kind of said that once your lead is about a point per second, it is super, super hard for comebacks to happen. And so,
well, yeah, because with everything said, you'd have to retake ownership of the scale essentially, and then hope that somehow, you know, a missed climb happens. Which, not saying that's happened in 2056, but it could happen.
Right. Praneet brought up a good point right there also in the chat when he was saying that if they had actually, going back to that boost, if they had level 3 boosted, they would have gotten the boost on their own switch, which means they missed 10 points right there. So that's another one that I didn't catch. So good catch there. That's going to become important later on with when we start talking about the 2-second or 1-second delay on the vault, getting the cubes in and hitting the button and all that sort of stuff. So let's keep watching for the next 15 seconds. As you know, we see 6878 playing some D.
Yeah, that's some great defense. And I like that they're going now in between where that cube is. And then you see that 4917 actually picks that one up.
Right, and let's pause right here. Let it go a second. Let it go a little bit longer. And pause right here. And so right now, okay, let's back it up.
Yeah, I see those cubes fall, yeah.
Yeah. So let's get to the 50-second mark and we'll do a reset. Or 49 seconds is fine.
Okay.
So right now, the scale is coming close to being even here. This is where the match starts to turn. So again, let's look at the score here. It's an 81-point lead for Red with 49 seconds left. Like, this is really interesting. So Matt Strader in chat says 11-14 plowed the Red pyramid. They did, and a penalty was assigned for that. So those accounts for the foul points at the end of the match right there. They didn't get a hurting call on that one, but they did get a call for removing a cube that was completely in the power cube zone or pyramid zone or whatever it was. The other 2 cubes that were moved, the referees ruled that part of them were on the outside, so that's why it was only a 5-point penalty right there. So again, 81-point lead, 49 seconds left. It's easy to focus on the blue scale because that's what's right in front of us, but focus on 4917 in the back as they're trying to go to add one more cube to the scale to really solidify this.
And there's cubes that fall on both sides too, so interesting to watch.
So 1114 is going to drop this cube here, but don't be distracted by that. As 4917, they score 1 cube, but they drop 2 off. So let's rewind and take a look at those cubes falling again right there. Maybe Tyler, you can circle it right there. And what we see in this is this is the opening for the Blue Alliance, because now the scale flips over to blue. So now let's pause and let's rewind it back again to about 45 seconds. And I want to watch the bottom right corner where 2056 is trying to load from the portal, and they're trying to do some scoring on the switch. It's crazy that 2056 is being defended by 1241. These guys played together 3 times this year. They were on Einstein together the last 2 years, but now there's like defense being played by the 2 of them. And it's super, super crucial because if 2056 can steal away this switch just for like a little bit of time, it's going to make all the difference in the match.
So why do you think that, you know, if you're 1241, there are still 3 cubes that are by your exchange area? Are you saving those to put into the exchange, and that's why you play defense against 2056?
Well, you nailed it. And so we're going to watch and we're going to see exactly how this plays out there, because there's 4 cubes available right there, and those 4 cubes are used in perfect efficiency to help swing this match. Like a lot of things, like again, let's look at the score right there. That's an 84-point lead. A lot of things have to go right for the Blue Alliance to come back, and everything starts going right from their strategic calls to a couple little tiny mistakes by the Red Alliance in the next 45 seconds. So as we're watching this defense here, 2056, they go to score a cube on the switch. Pause it right here. And that cube, it makes the cubes even on the switch 2-2. However, it doesn't flip the ownership just yet because blues are positioned a little bit better. Now 1241 sees, 2056 is a shot at stealing the switch. So instead of playing defense, which they're worried that they might not be able to hold them off, they go to grab a cube, one of their 4 cubes that they had left out there, to go deposit on the switch. So let's watch and continue here. And 2056 gets one on the switch, but 1241 does too. Pause again. And the switch doesn't flip ownership right here. And so that's super, super huge because just a couple seconds would have made a difference right now.
And honestly, I mean, a good call by 2056, I think, strategy-wise, to switch over and start attacking the blue switch. I mean, we know that Blue Lions wins this in the end, but to me that seems like the right tactical call at that time, especially because if they want to potentially pick up that super cube, if the Red Alliance wants to, they're in position to do that.
Right. And so now here's where we're going to have to be doing a lot of rewinding because stuff starts happening all over the field here. So we get the 30-second mark. So let's take it forward by just a couple seconds, and we're into the end game horn. Let's pause right now for a second. So 1114 at this point is going to go straight to their portal to grab the blue Stube. The blue Stube is completely undefended right now. 6817, who's done such a great job of defending the portals, is not doing that right now. While over on the other side, 7059, they're getting ready to park to defend against the red super cube from coming into play. 7509 is a great story. They're a pre-rookie team from Six Nations Reserve in Southern Ontario. They were actually using 4039's either competition bot or practice robot. So if you think about this blue alliance, it's got 1241, 1114, and 4039's robot, which is super, super cool. And also, kudos to teams 4039 and 5406, who were mentoring 3 different pre-rookies at this event, and they lent them robots of theirs, and that it was made for a kind of a cool event.
So, Karthik, something I want to ask, though, is that at this 28-second mark, is we look at the camera in the lower right-hand corner, the Red Alliance has normal cubes in for both. I mean, it should, based on the strategy of play, and I didn't get to watch all the matches at STEMley Cup, but were most alliances immediately loading the super cube at 30 seconds?
So it just kind of depended. Some alliances were very attuned to the new rules changes and were focusing on them, and others were not. So the 1241, 1114 alliance, they made a commitment to doing super cubes, and I think they really basically figured that if they're going to pull an upset off against 2056 and 4917, they needed to score the super cubes. While the Red Alliance didn't focus as heavily on that.
Yeah,
so
I mean, at this point too, they're up by quite a bit. So I wonder if there's this false sense of security that gets delivered.
They're up
that.
by 77. Well, here's what happens. We just talked about what the Red Alliance isn't doing. Well, what is the Red Alliance doing? Well, 6878 and 2056 are getting ready for their double climb, and they're probably figuring nail those 60 points and they have this under lockdown. And in a normal match where there's no super cube available, they would have it under lockdown. So no, it's a lot happening here. So now we're paused right at the right time at 28 seconds because we see that the Red Alliance has just forced, except they forced level 1, which is forcing their switch, which hasn't been under debate at any point. And let's watch and let it go for a couple seconds. And this is where it's going to get really sad. Boom. Pause it right now, Tyler. The Red Alliance had put a second cube into the force column involved, but they hit the button too early. And it goes back to what we learned during those field tour videos, that there's a couple second delay on the vault. So just because you have the cubes in place doesn't mean that you're going to get the activation that you want. You have to wait for the lights to come up.
And that seems like that'd be very common with, this is a new season, potentially new people behind the glass as well too. Now, I don't know for sure if it was or not, but that can be something that just, in a finals position, you just don't. That's not something you're directly cognizant about doing.
No, especially if it's a new human player or a new person handling the vault. A comment in chat from LC910 of saying 2056 who was beaten 11-14 every time the two teams have gone to head-to-head. That's true in the regular season. 2056 has won every elimination round matchup against 11-14. I think it's only been 2 actually in the regular season, 2012 and 2016. But in the off season,
you guys don't ever play each other anymore.
Yeah, In the off season, 1114 beat 2056 at IRI 2012. Tyler, you should remember that one.
I do.
Our two robots were together. And then in 2015 at the STEMley Cup, 1114 and 2852 beat 2056 and I can't remember who, someone in that game. Well, that was the year when 1114's 2015 robot was just like crazy, ridiculous. So right here, we're going to see that this means that the Red Alliance doesn't force the scale here, and that would have totally flipped everything because you got like that 20-point swing. So let's keep watching this and get to like the 20-second mark so we can see what's happening. And yeah, pause right here. And we see at this point, 2056 and 6878 are getting ready for the double lift. Notice that 1114 and 1241 are nowhere close to their platform zone. They're not thinking about lifting yet because they are so far behind. They're down by 76 points with 20 seconds left. They have to do other stuff. Remember those 3 cubes that Tyler talked about earlier? Well, 1241's stuffing them in the vault right now, while 1114 has just grabbed their STUBE. And this is going to get crazy. So let's pause.
Where does STUBE come from again? Can you explain that?
It's like STEMley and cube. So.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah. It was kind of cute.
No, it is. I dig it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so let's go to 18 seconds. Hand pause. And 1114 is trying to take a shortcut through the platform zone. Except this is a bad platform zone to go through now.
Especially with the way 2056 climbs. So.
Right, and where 6878 is. And so luckily they spot it and get out of there. But they came very, very close to slamming into 6878 and like disaster happening. Over on the other side of the field, 1241 still continuing their vaulting. And so like this is where like we would need like tri-field view because so much is going to happen. So let's just watch the next 6 seconds to see where we are.
God, that was so close.
That was so close. 1241 gets the next cube in there. Pause right here. So now at this point, the scale's been teetering as well because all the while that this has been going on is 4917 has been trying to get a cube onto the scale. So let's back up to like about 18 seconds and watch 4917.
That's going to go a little bit further back.
Yeah. And so they're working on the scale and they just miss a cube right there.
Watch that again on this side. You'll see that cube just kind of fall. It's hard to see at the camera view, but it comes down right here.
Boom. And so watch what happens there. So pause right now. As they were trying to score that cube, which they never actually scored, the scale flips to neutral. And so Red actually even takes it for just a second there. So that could have been a call that the refs might have wanted to make for influencing the scale and that whole rule there, but it's super close and at that point. And so like it's like whatever. But yeah, so that happens right now. But so back to 18 seconds, we see let's take it forward to about 12 seconds again.
All right.
Trying to see if I'm going to miss anything else in here. And okay, pause. So right now, 2056 is about to lift 6878. And that's going to, like, the lead right now is 70. It's like, so the lead's just going to blow up even more. But remember, 1241 just got the levitate, and they're going to hit the button on that right now. So that's going to be an extra 30 points plus 3 cubes. They scored an extra 45. So the score is going to start fluctuating, but like blue is inching back right here.
And the score from what they're showing, since it shows 2 in there right now, they're essentially going to be adding another 35 points immediately for one more cube in levitate. Yeah. And
so now we got to watch 1114. So they're kind of obscured by the camera person, but they have the STU. And this cube could be worth as much as 50 points, but they have to score it on that nasty mess of a scale.
I can't believe this lands in.
And well, you got to remember, like, it's not only important that the Blue Alliance is owning the scale right now because they're accruing valuable points per second, but if that scale was in a losing position, good luck trying to score a STU up on that, which is like I want to say double stacked, but it feels like double and a half.
Yeah, at least. I mean, even watch where it lands too. You'll see that the way it kind of just goes in there, it would be very difficult. Should the scale be raised up on the Blue Line side.
So so 1114 goes up. The elevator's fast. They move into position. They dangle and they drop it on, and it stays. Pause right there, 5 seconds.
Go a little bit back on you.
Yeah. So like that's crazy. But let's back up about to like 7 seconds now. So we've seen the crazy super cube. You see the game announcer, Mike Meyer. He's like jumping up and down because we watch this slow mo.
And then you hear the microphone afterwards. All these things are exciting, right?
Yeah. And so let's, as we see that go in, but there's other stuff that's happening in this match that's super crucial. So let's back up to about
12:41. I tell you.
Yeah, because like if we go to back to about 10 seconds left, like 12:41's not hooked to the bar yet, and they've got a hook, detach, and winch in this time. So let's watch 12:41. And like remember, like right now they haven't given 2056 their 60 points yet for their double climb. Like this climb is absolutely necessary by 12:41.
I want to note, just like watch when they attach, just how quickly it goes. Like the time on this is insane.
Watching this live, I didn't think they were going to make it. Like they're not hooked at
6,
7
5.
seconds. They're still on hook. 5 seconds they're on hook.
Right there at 5, they
at
just
5.
hit. Yeah.
And then just watch this pull up right here.
All right. So
Boom!
2.5 seconds. Yeah.
Okay, but let's back it up again because there's exciting stuff happening at the vault. This match, this match was crazy. So back it up to maybe about 8 seconds, and we can watch 49-17. And they've got grab one cube. So let's pause right here. Pause. So there's that one cube that they didn't see, and they couldn't see it because it wasn't in their driver's field of vision. Anyone who's been on a drive team this year or any year knows that things that are up against your Alliance Station wall are nearly impossible to see. So 49-17. Let's watch this again. And
so there's one, not able to get the second. Yeah.
But even the first one, they never got it into the vault. So they got it through the exchange, and maybe they got it into the vault, but it didn't register in time.
Because there's that 2-second delay, right?
That delay. So this match, and let's take it to the 0-second point so we can see where the score was at.
All right. Now, we don't have any audio playing right now with Karthik, but I'd love to hear maybe what was going on in your mind. Like if you were saying anything out loud, what we might have heard.
For a second, Tyler, back it up. And pause right there. Pause right here so we can see the 346, the 300. Everyone. So in the building right now, a lot of the reaction is, oh, Reds won. They've got the 46-point lead. 11-14 didn't hit their climb. This is all good. But then you remember the Stube. And so at this point, the refs walk onto the field to go and count to see what's going on there. And when people realized that the Stube could make the difference, the crowd got super, super tense. And so remember, that's a mess, that pile. I have no idea how many cubes are on there. But like I thought it was a lot because it seemed like everyone was scoring a lot. But at this point, if it's only 9 cubes, that's 45 points for blue, and blue loses by 1 point.
I'm counting maybe, I don't know if you know how many there were, but just my eyeball here, it looks like about 11.
That's exactly what it was. It was 11. If it was 10 or more, blue would win. And yep, that's what the final tally was. 11 cubes equals a 50-point bonus, and the Blue Alliance takes it.
I feel like I could just see people in the crowd just like with their fingers out trying to count like how many are on there, because that's what I just caught myself doing. I'm like, I have my finger pointed towards my monitor. I'm like, all right, maybe that one's behind there. I can't quite tell,
So if we go and let's flash the final score up there on the board for everyone to see. There it is.
How long did that take, by the way?
It felt like days, but it was actually pretty quick. It was pretty quick, and I mean, STEMley had great volunteers, so like the refs were on top of it. They had the protocol to go on there. The field supervisor helped since it's not super safe being on the field with all those cubes and a moving scale, and so safety was taken into account, and then scores went into the scorekeeper. And I mean, like, I actually got caught with a hot mic after this match, and all you hear is me laughing, just cackling, because this match was so fun, and it was just like so crazy how everything happened, and it just kind of proved the value of that bonus cube. Anything could have decided it. We talked about like the vault buttons being hit like a second too early. We talked about like a launching foul that could have been called. We talked about a scale contact foul that could have been called. 49-17, the Red Alliance didn't levitate that match. That meant if 49-17 had parked instead of trying to go for that vault cube, they could have gotten 5 points to swing the match. Anything could have made a difference there.
Sorry, the software just crashed there. My bad.
Oh, that's all good. That's all good. like the one thing that I also wanted to talk about was like kudos to the STEMley Cup organizing committee for coming up with this STUBE rule. And like full disclosure, they asked me for some consulting on it, but they had the rule like nailed, and I just kind of gave them some advice on ways to do things. But what I loved about this rule is because like I thought Endgame was lacking this year. Despite the fact that we had all these hanging robots or whatever, there was a lot of robots that weren't doing much, and a lot of matches were done super early. And so the STUBE rule allowed for comebacks and last-second drama, but at the same time, it wasn't overwhelming, which was important to me because like there's nothing worse than like some stupid people call it the blue shell. I still don't really know what that means, but where like it just kind of overthrows like the whole match or whatever. And so this was a balanced rule change, which incentivizes last-second gameplay, but didn't overpower the rest of the match.
Sure.
Also, it didn't involve any robot changes.
I feel like you just described what the blue shell is, but
yeah, but I don't know where it's from or anything. But no robot changes were required. It was just strategy changes, and the teams that kind of figured the strategy stuff out, got kind of nailed it all like that. So it's it was a very, very cool match and a great way to end the Power Up season here in Ontario. I know there's still a few more events out there, but I thought kudos to the STEMley Cup people for taking a very good game in Power Up and making it that much cooler. And I mean, to those 6 teams who played on that match, I was talking when I did my intros, like you had like the history of like 11-14, 20-6, 12-41. Well, you also had the future and this pre-rookie team 75-09 who just like nailed their strategy or whatever. Or the rookie team 68-78 who played such solid defense. And yeah, it was like really, really super cool. And STEMley Cup was just awesome. And it almost had a feel of like a smaller northern version of IRI, which was awesome.
So I want to ask you about a couple things, by the way, and these are going to be more the comedic side. And I know everybody's asking about your lap, but there was something else. I'm trying to bring up the clip that you had this contest with somebody else at the event.
The chin-up contest with Aveen?
Yes. Can you talk about that a little bit?
That was just like we had a delay for something. Who knows what it was. And John Hobbins, the regional director, and the first senior mentor, Paul Keenan, somehow got in their head that Aveen and I should do a chin-up contest, and the two of them were gambling lollipops on the chin-up contest, and we went out there and did it. Aveen beat me pretty cleanly, and he was also doing more complete chin-ups than I was, but I was just told to go up and down. I didn't know and Aveen was going all the way down. But yeah, that was like a good time.
Well, I think
if you don't find
we'll
that
pull
clip,
this up here.
Great. Yeah.
On my mark, here are the rules. On my mark, you shall begin.
Back it up.
A full chin-up
All right, I'm going to pause it so I can get this up so everybody can witness this, because this was pretty epic, and I want you to just do a quick breakdown here because, one is I don't know if it constitutes a full pull-up or not.
But the rules were very specific.
Okay.
Mike just said, go up and go down. He didn't say anything about going all the way down. And so, you know me, give me a little bit of rope.
You got to look for that edge right there.
Yeah, exactly. While you're pulling that up, I'll take a question from chat.
Yeah.
Outside of the off-season events, do you think the Super Cubes could have been a viable and healthy part of the normal season? I think they totally could have been.
Yeah.
I think it would have been a good compromise between making the full change to time-based scoring and leaving some normal-based scoring. And I think also, because remember, the Super Cube could be used on the switches as well. So it would have helped a lot of those switch bots who felt overpowered by the end of the season. It could have given them something to do at the end of the match. And so I think it would have been a very cool addition. Early in the season, when teams were struggling to hang, it was a real struggle to get a double hang going. There was something on the ground to be done. Because early in the season, when you could only get one robot hanging from each alliance, you had 4 robots that were doing nothing at the end of the match. Like some were doing some vaulting and stuff, but like extra things to do at the end of the match is pretty cool.
All right, let's take a look at this on here.
Oh, look at Aveen right there. That's Aveen. He's a 1241 alum. He's one of our training MCs in Ontario and like a long-time Dex World's head rep. And my daddy, apparently, after this chin-up contest.
It looks like you're outpacing him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm outpacing him because I'm doing shorter chin-ups.
6, 7, 7.
But you're just playing the game, right? So
yeah, absolutely.
10. I can't believe this is amazing. 11.
And I mean, Aveen's probably got like 30, 40 pounds on me, so he's not.
Oh, look at the struggle.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I can't even do one. But
Come on. He's holding it up. He's fighting for it. He's fighting. Oh.
Yeah, so I was just like, I tap out. And he kept going. Couldn't see, but like the best was like when we're doing this. This is so stupid. I can't believe we would never do that at a regular event, or maybe Paul and I would do that at a regular event.
Yeah, right.
But as we both went up, we would like make eye contact with each other.
Oh man,
eye of the tiger thing. So, I didn't see if we had any other questions in chat there.
No, I think we took a decent amount of them during stream on here. We kind of just talked about some comments on this. So,
but like other people from chat, if you have any, I guess we did take a lot of them during the match.
Was there anything? I do want to give a shout out that we did have the coach of 4917, Sam, reach out to us, as well as the lead mentor for Makeshift Robotics reach out to us with some extra kind of inside information that we incorporated into this. But I wasn't sure if there was anything else to cover that maybe we didn't talk about.
I think we kind of hit the points that they brought up, and I mean, like Sam from 4917, like I saw his comments after I'd done my notes for the match, and like he picked out every little thing. So like, I mean, like, dude, he should be a host on the show at some point. Like, he did a really, really good job. And Praneet in chat caught the other Baltine exchange.
Do we mention that Lancerbot could have parked at the end of the match since there wasn't a levitate?
I did mention that towards the very end because they didn't have the levitate right there. And that's when I think people took the levitate for granted all season long. But then as the season went on and Baltine became less of a thing where teams were forgoing levitate, sometimes you forget that parking is actually worth something. So yeah, this was a cool match. And I mean, it's always cool to see 1114 and 2056 on the field at the same time, whether on the same alliance or not. And so this is the first event they played together in 2018, which was absolutely crazy.
I do want to read something from Matt that he sent me in regards to the STUBEs, and it kind of answered a question I asked before. It said, it was interesting that STUBE runs were attempted by alliances in several qualification round matches, but were mostly unsuccessful as time would run out before the colored cube would be successfully placed on the scale or the team's near switch. STUBEs became more in elims, especially in finals 2 and 3. So that really kind of blows my mind that that the timing took that long to get down to, because to me, I'd be like, right at 30 seconds, I'm just going to go put that on my switcher scale. And that, because to me, that's worth more than a climb.
Yes, I agree. But I just think that a lot of teams, I mean, it's the off season. A lot of teams, I mean, we're learning about the rules.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
You know, and just hadn't planned around it. Well, like I know, for example, like 1114 had practice STUBE runs at their practice field. And I know 1241 came down to practice with them one time. I wouldn't be surprised if both of them were practicing STUBE runs at the same time. Yeah. Question from longtime viewer Karush. Thoughts on matches mostly being determined in auto for power-up? Kind of ruined the game for me at the end of the season.
Yeah, it did.
It did. But here's what I got to say, Karush. Imagine how bad it would have been if they kept the stupid 8-plate assignments before they cut it down to 4.
Oh, my goodness.
And remember, like, there was arguments on Chief where there were people like, it doesn't make a difference. And, like, people were like, no, you're stupid. It makes a difference. It's like, yeah, like, the people who knew spotted this right away. Mm-hmm. And the people who, like, if you're not good at strategy, how about you just don't weigh in? Like, it was, like, crazy. But it would have made this so much worse. So, yeah. I think part of it was, Karush, like, if you had 2 robots, which both had 3 cube autos on the same alliance, if the game had progressed to that point, then the random generation of the plates wouldn't have mattered as much because you would have lined them both up and one of them would have gone close. Mm-hmm. And but you know, unfortunately, the game didn't really hit that level except for maybe like one division at championship. So a question from Anubis Abyss Ruler. Does anyone have a map of 2019 Ontario districts? I want to see if I can get out of Ottawa to get one. Unfortunately, there's no district out in Ottawa. The closest districts to Ottawa, North Bay is probably the closest. It's just a mess to get to at that time of year on the highways if you're driving. So, yeah.
Fair enough.
I think that's kind of all we got on that match, Tyler.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great description and a great write-up and a fantastic match to do. So it's kind of cool to see as we start to wrap up our year as we get ready for the 2019 season to end on a high note, because I'm with you, man. I was getting pretty drawn out on Power Up. I mean, even IRI was.
I'm not going to do another Power Up match for this show for until a few years, and like it's a retro throwback kind of thing. But like I'm done. Like December, I'll do something else. I'll do a match from 1998.
Do you want to take the unofficial sports question, because that's a candidly speaking episode right there in a nutshell?
Which question?
An off-season.
Oh, I see it. Yeah. An off-season event in Indiana gave teams an extra vault cube if they use a student drive. Oh my god! Really?
Do they give them the white gloves too, or what?
Well, I mean, it's an off-season event. They can do whatever they want.
I guess.
can choose to ignore that off-season event.
Yeah, I mean that's about the right answer right there.
Yeah. I mean, like it's more power to them. Everyone like, I mean and like remember, like it's the whole thing saying teams can run their teams how they want. You can run your off-season event how
That's
you
very
want to
true.
run it.
Very true.
So yeah, more power to them. But I would, I mean, never want to see that in an FRC season.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Praneet says Matt Coffey for president. I'd vote for him. I'd vote for him. That's 11-14's new drive coach.
Okay.
Was the driver in 2010 who only lost 2 matches.
Yeah,
last season,
for sure.
Both on Einstein. So, yeah. I guess we're not going to be doing the giveaway right away, Tyler, because we're going to do the giveaway is going to be part of Marbles on Stream. So I think we're going to wrap it up. But that's it for FUNalysis this week, and maybe even a FUNalysis this season. But I think we're going to come back one more time in December, right, Tyler?
We might. It kind of depends. I keep broadcasting this recently, but I'm getting married on Saturday. And very exciting. And we have our honeymoon coming up over Thanksgiving to the first week of December. So we'll see in regards to what we do for shows. I'm not quite sure yet. We do have a new show that we're going to be piloting. Actually, let me talk about that real quick. Because it will be the first time we talked about it outside of our subs. So we have a new show coming up. It's an untitled show yet, but the gist of it is that we're going to bring on, starting out with some elite level teams. And this one's going to be Citrus Circuit 1678 will be our first team. And essentially doing an AMA with that team. And they're going to be bringing in things that really make that team special. So, and I can't give an example because I don't know what 1678 is bringing yet. Did I say the right team number? I always screw that up between them and Pascack. It's 1678, right?
No, you got it right.
Good. Finally, it took me like 4 years, and I finally got this right. So, and so you'll have an opportunity. It's going to be very team ran. We have one of our Foundation hosts, Nick Cousins, will be the host of the show. But it's going to be very team centric. We're requiring the teams to bring in both mentors and students to talk about some of the really cool stuff they work on with their teams. You're going to have an opportunity to ask questions. Anything about the in-depthness of their robot, their programming, their awards, anything that they do, you'll have that opportunity to do. So we're looking, like I said, we need to generate, the honest thing is we need to generate excitement. We want to bring on elite level teams to start, but that's not going to be the only teams we bring in, obviously. But we also acknowledge they're going to be the higher draw, typically. Like I said, this is just me being transparent with you. And so we're looking for teams. So if you have suggestions for that, we'd love to bring some teams on that maybe are really well, but aren't as well known. And of course, we want to bring on the really well known teams as well too. So if you have suggestions, hop in our Discord and let's go from there, because I think there's a lot of excitement. I just put our I would try to put our Discord link in chat, which I'll do right now. There we go. So if you're not in our Discord, by the way, make sure you check that out, because we're excited. It is going to be a pilot in December, and if it runs, we'll throw it into our rotation, which will be our fifth rotating show as we go in. So we're building more and more, thanks to you and thanks to your support as well. And I do want to give thanks to a few. Now, unfortunately, my Streamlabs did not fully render on here, so I know Hackagen is subscribed, Commaster1018, Caleb Hayes, and Praneet is who I have subs from so far. So if I missed anybody, I'm sorry. We had an issue with Streamlabs, but love everybody for all their support. So thank you very much for that. And of course, we have Marbles on Stream coming up in a little bit, so we can play that. And of course, you can win yourself the gyro board that we have up on screen right now.
Sweet. And so FUNalysis will be back for sure in January, and we're going to be doing the same sort of stuff we did. We're going to be doing game breakdowns during the season. We'll break down some RI3Ds, some week 0 events, and once we get into the season, we're just going to keep breaking it down for you guys, and we'll keep doing these shows that you hopefully are enjoying. So let us know what you thought of the show tonight on Discord, on Facebook, on Instagram, or on Chief Delphi, or wherever you can find us on the internet. This
everywhere.
And we're going to be back with our weekly shows next Tuesday at 8:30 Eastern. Is it Roasting Robots next Tuesday, Tyler?
It is Roasting Robots. We have, for sure, we're going to have on Team 2468, Team Appreciate, talk about their first signing day. And then we're going to have, we're hashing out what the kind of the debate's going to be amongst the community, but I think we have a couple good ones that you'll be interested in. So make sure you tune in and check that out.
Awesome. So if you're watching live, stick around. We're going to be playing Marbles on Stream. I'm going to stick around for at least a couple races. And on behalf of myself, for producer Tyler, I want to thank you for tuning in. Thanks to all the moderators on chat, and we'll see you next time on Fun.
Good night, everybody. Thank you to all of our co-executive producers, keeping Fun loud, live, and independent. Pledge your support at patreon.com/first updates now.